People, they look at my channel and they're like, "Arey bro, you have 2K subscribers. That is so cool." But honestly, to me, it is very hollow. Right now, when I say this, you may not realize because like I've deleted a lot of my content, but let me take you through the story. So basically, when I started this channel, I was getting into songwriting, and because I was still like getting close with songwriting, and I did want to eventually post my songs on YouTube when I'm ready, I thought I'll post these parodies that I was writing, find a little bit of audience, and when I'm ready, I'll just put out my songs out there. So I used to like mainly post parodies on this channel. And sometimes, like when I'd go to my hometown, me and my cousins would do some random like old dance trends and stuff. And I would like post them as well. And I think I had around like 300 subscribers or something at that point. And most of these like 300 people are like people I knew, like relatives, friends, and all. Nothing more than that. But then at like one point, I did these true trends. Like there was the Wednesday dance trend. I was watching the show at that time, so I was pretty intrigued by the trend. And then, if you guys know the TikTok story creators, like I know like TikTok was banned in India, but you could see their content that they were sharing on YouTube, right? So a lot of these people were doing this quiz called Poet Soldier King quiz. And I also got pretty intrigued and I did the quiz hoping to get a poet, but I got a soldier instead. So I created like my own version of that trend, and I posted these two trends, and suddenly I just started getting quite a good number of subscribers, in the past next few days. And I just thought, like there are times when you're watching YouTube shorts and you accidentally press subscribe, and when you later look at your subscribed list, you're like, I don't remember subscribing to this person. So yeah, I just thought it was something like that, people accidentally clicked. But then the subscribers started increasing, and some of these people like started commenting on the video saying that, "Oh, I like looked out your channel, you have some interesting content, I'd like to check that out and I'm looking forward for more content." And I thought, oh, seems like I've found the audience I've been looking for, and I felt pretty happy. I was like, oh nice, I got 2.2k people who are like interested, and things like that. But yeah, I was wrong. None of these people ever really looked at any of my other content, and they didn't even check anything that I posted later on. They only subscribed because I showed up in their favorite trend, and now my channel was just like rotting in their subscription list. I thought, what if I delete these trend videos, like when they ever come across my channel again, they realize like, oh, she's now gonna be doing trends, and they would unsubscribe maybe. And so I did that, but no, the number still stayed. That fake number, it was so inflatingly huge. People were like, wow, you have 2.2k subs. But to me, it felt nothing because there was nothing in that 2.2k. There was practically no audience among that 2.2k. And I just wanted to get rid of that number. I just wanted to see the real time people who are actually interested in my content, But no, they did not reduce. I did not want this false validations of just numbers, Like I want to share something and I want to meet people who relate or like what I share, Like I'm not saying that I don't want subscribers. Like if I did not want subscribers, I wouldn't be on YouTube. That is absolutely like stupid if I say that. Obviously, I do want subscribers, but I want people who genuinely like my content, who connect with my art, because the channel is mainly about sharing what I write or what I want to talk about. That is what it's mainly about. And I wanted people who actually connect to all of this, not just some random 2k people who are waiting for the next trend and being like, oh, this person also hopped onto the trend, let me subscribe. I didn't really want that. But like you can't remove your subscribers. You don't even know who subscribes to you, and you can't remove them, so the number's gonna stay. But I'm hoping here on after I would find like the real audience that I'm looking for. And here's another thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately. These two opinions I hear a lot about art. The first one is that art is beautiful because you're expressing your misery in it. I don't believe in that. I don't think that art is beautiful because you're expressing your misery in that. I think it is beautiful because of the way you're portraying it, Like, let's take, for example, John Keats. We all love the poem Ode to a Nightingale written by John Keats. He talks about how, like it feels being closer to death. But yeah, like that is such a big poem. People love that poem. But here's the thing, John Keats was an amazing poet even before that. This was definitely his most beautiful poem, but he was a poet before this and he was quite good at it. I feel like if John Keats didn't know how to write poetry, then An Ode to a Nightingale wouldn't be as beautiful as it is. It is because he knows. He knows how to play around with words. He knows how he wants to write, how he feels, that he was able to he was able to conjure such a beautiful poem. So I personally feel like it's not about what are you talking about in your poem. It's about how are you talking about it. And not just poem, like any kind of art. Like if you want to paint something, if you know how you want to paint it, that is when you're able to really express it, rather than just knowing what you want to express. So I personally don't believe that it is misery that makes art beautiful. It is you knowing how you want to express that makes it beautiful. But I do agree, like emotions are something we understand better, like it's something that we are experiencing. So we understand it better. We know exactly what we want to express. So it's a little easier, not saying no. But it comes out beautifully only if you know how you want to express it. So it's more about you being aware of your sense of art than the fact of like negative emotions like misery and stuff. And the other one is like, always stick to your first idea because it's always more you. I hear a lot of people saying this, but I don't agree because I personally think that knowing when to throw away your art is what makes you a better artist. I know it sounds very counterintuitive, but hear me out. I think it's a good way to grow because, like sometimes we get very attached to what we create. We can't let it go because we have that feeling that I spent a lot of time on this. If I throw it away, that's a waste of everything I've put my effort into. But I feel that it's worth throwing it away if it doesn't resonate with who you are, because like you keep trying to mold yourself into that. And trying to mold yourself into that, you're wasting time because you're not that person who can mold into that. You've grown beyond that mold. You can't fit something where it doesn't fit. And I can totally count this on experience because like there was this novel I was working on back in 2020 to 2021. It was like this random mystery novel I was working on, which initially was kind of like a cheap Enid Blyton ripoff. But then I added some sci-fi elements going forward, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an amazing book. And I was working on it on this family laptop, but that laptop spoiled. So for years, I didn't have the pen drive and I didn't work on this. And later I found it somewhere in 2025. And I was like, I don't really like the plot. But then I was like, you know what? The chapters are so badly written. Let me first try to rewrite a few of the chapters. Maybe I'll be able to figure out how to go about this. And I think I rewrote a few chapters, but then I had like a severe writer's block. So I think maybe for a month or two, I did not visit the book again. And when I came back, my doubts about the plot were like bothering me so much. So I was like, you know what, I'll keep this aside. I'll read a little more mystery books. Then I'll come back and I'll do something about this. But after months, like I didn't feel anything towards the book. I didn't feel any ideas or anything to take the book forward. And I couldn't personally find it in me to try to write this because I felt like I don't like the idea. And then eventually I started having different type of ideas. And then I was like, this novel doesn't stick with the kind of story I want to write right now. And so I ultimately decided to throw it away. This kind of happened with my music album too. With the music album, it was a little more messed up because I had these 9 songs, I guess, I wrote from 2019 to 2022. Barely took me 30 minutes to write all of these songs. So overall, if you think, I must have spent 5 hours. From that time, I was like, one day I'll learn how to play a guitar and I'm going to put out this album. But then I was like, I don't resonate with these songs anymore. And I thought, Probably because of the way it is written. Maybe I'll try to write it differently. And tried combining some of the songs and turn it into an EP and all. I wasted another whole 5 hours in a span of 1 month, not in a span of years. In a span of 1 month, I spent 5 hours only for me to throw it away because I realized that it was not turning out good. It felt more like random speech, random thoughts scattered rather than like songs, because I was just trying to fit everything together because I wanted to keep these songs. And that made me realize that, you should know when to throw away your art. Like, I don't believe that the time you have spent on making something is a waste, as long as you enjoyed doing it. Like with the novel, with the album, the 5 hours that I spent on it, I don't think any of those 5 hours back then were a waste, but I think the 5 hours I spent later, that in that 1 month last year where I tried to turn this album into an EP because I wanted to keep it, I think those 5 hours was a waste of time because I did not resonate with these songs anymore. I just kept forcing myself to do this, eventually for me to really just throw them out. I feel that was a waste of time. It's not the 5 hours that I spent writing the songs when I loved writing these songs, when I got the ideas and I resonated with the ideas. All of these taught me something. It's through all of these that I grew. It's because I wrote these songs that I got a little better with songwriting, and I'm here where I am right now. It's because I started writing that novel that I really started enjoying writing more, and I was sure that I want to take writing seriously. So I don't think that any of that was a waste of time. I think it's a waste of time when you're not able to throw it away and worrying that all that efforts would be a waste, and you try to put in more efforts and they don't fit in. That would be a waste of time. So I believe like you should throw away your art when it does not resonate with you anymore. But I also believe in this one thing, like suppose there's a small idea in this, like I said, these album, I tried to combine some of the songs and turn them into a whole other song. 2 of these songs, I liked a few of the ideas and few of the lines, and I took them and I created a whole new, like this idea. How would I want to portray it as a person I am now? Not trying to limit myself to the idea, but to expand the idea with my way of thinking now. And I did that, and I used some of these lines, and I made a poem around the idea, and I used some of these lines here and there where I felt they fitted in. And the poem was so beautiful. I loved it, So one thing is like, when I say throw away your art you don't resonate with, I don't mean that completely just throw it away. There might be 1 or 2 ideas in that still stick out with you. You can always hold on to that ideas, I believe like these ideas are like matchsticks. So like, if you're in a very cold place and you like burn a matchstick, for how long is the matchstick gonna give you warmth? It's gonna go out in a minute. It's not gonna keep you warm. But if you have a log and you have the matchstick, you can use the matchstick to set a fire to the log, and that fire will give you the warmth. The matchstick is this old idea, and the fire is like that one essence of that idea that you like. And the log, your new capability which lasts, which burns a fire, which has that warmth, that resonance that you want with it. You use that idea and you just like ignite that fire on the new capabilities that you have, and you can make something beautiful. That is what I believe. I don't think you should mold yourself into something that you don't resonate with. You can take something from it and you can build something completely beautiful out of it. That is what I personally believe about art. And yeah, that's about all for this video. I'm sorry if I was yapping too much, but here's what I wanted to share. Thanks for listening, guys.